Hey Chilliwack, so the not so fun fact for this month's market update goes to homes that were purchased at the peak of the market exactly a year ago. So there were two properties in particular that caught my eye. One sold for over $900 last year at this time and just recently sold for $175,000 less than they paid for it a year ago. Another one sold for over $900,000 and just recently sold for $90,000 less than they paid for it a year ago. Coming into 2023, we definitely seen an increase in the amount of market activity in things like open house traffic, showings, and even some multiple offer scenarios. But what's interesting is that it didn't actually translate into sales numbers. We only saw 120 home sales for all of Chilliwack and District in the month of January. That was even a little bit less than what we saw in December, which is typically the quietest time of the year. This actually puts us at a 4-year low for number of sales in 1 month, but I do expect to see that number tick up in the month of February, just given the amount of activity that we've seen among buyers. And again, coming out of Christmas, it's normal to see an uptick in the amount of inventory and the number of new listings, and this year was no different. We definitely seen that increase in inventory coming into the new year. Since a year ago, we've seen the median house price come down from $875,000 to $615,000, which represents a $260,000 difference in the median home price. However, in the month of January, we've actually seen average and median house prices tick up very slightly, and that's across all property types in all areas. Now, I did look at the Sardis numbers separately from the Chilliwack numbers, and it does seem that the Chilliwack side is still continuing to soften, while the Sardis side is the one that ticked up a little bit more, but overall, a slight increase in average and median prices in Chilliwack and District. Now, I don't think that this small tick up is too significant. And now when you look at the big picture of average and median prices, we're pretty much back to where we were 2 years ago. So it doesn't mean that every property is worth what it was 2 years ago. It just means that our average sales prices and our median sales prices are back to where they were 2 years ago. So to sum that up, the number of home sales is down for January at a 4-year low, but we also seen a new increase in inventory coming into the new year and also a slight increase in average and median prices. Okay, now the best part is where we talk about what this means for you if you're buying or selling. Now for buyers, obviously I mentioned that prices have ticked up slightly. This doesn't mean that we're heading in a new trend upwards. It's just too early to tell for that. Of course, we were happy to hear that the Bank of Canada intends to pause their interest rate increases and just see what the effects of all these rate increases is going to be on the economy, the jobs market, and all that. But as we see that pause, we could see more buyers entering into the spring market. Now, could we see more downward pressure on prices? Well, of course we could if the Bank of Canada decides to increase interest rates again, or if we get a lot of new inventory in the spring market and the buyers aren't there to purchase it. Those two factors could cause more downward pressure on prices. Now, of course, you're going to be saving on the purchase price now versus if you were a year or 2 years ago, but you're going to be paying more to the bank because of the high interest rate. What a lot of mortgage professionals are recommending right now is that if you do get into a home right now, just go into a 2 or 3 year term and then refinance in 2 or 3 years when they anticipate that interest rates will be down again. For sellers, of course, expect longer days on market. So now we're up to 52 days on market on average for your home to sell in the current market. So just expect that going into it. Even if your home is priced well, even if it's marketed well, it is going to take you a little bit longer, but it is very important to do those two things. So make sure your home is priced well, make sure that it's getting marketed well, and you should be able to get your home sold in this market. So thanks for catching my February of 2023 market update for Chilliwack and District. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. That's where I share a lot of tips and helpful information for buyers, sellers, and investors. So catch me there. That is at jeremyvanwoerden on Instagram.